And Tom was very busy last night, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah. You were watching the Duchess of Sussex's latest Netflix series, which has had very mixed reviews, but you really enjoyed it, didn't you?
Okay, here's where I come clean, Emily. I didn't watch a single second.
In what many critics are calling a stunning downfall and the ultimate blow to her aspirations in the entertainment world, Meghan Markle's much-hyped Netflix series With Love, Meghan has officially flopped, garnering the lowest ratings ever recorded for a celebrity-led original production on the platform. The show's failure is anything but quiet or dignified. Behind the scenes, the Duchess-turned-content creator is reportedly in crisis mode, overwhelmed by relentless damage control efforts. Meanwhile, industry insiders are distancing themselves, legal pressures are mounting, and public opinion has hit a harsh and unforgiving low.
And I just couldn't bring myself to.
Well, should we give you a little refresher?
I just want to raise a glass to you guys. This feels like a new chapter that I'm so excited that I get to share. And I've been able to learn from all of you. So just thank you for the love and support. And here we go, there's a business.
Once celebrated as a contemporary symbol of female empowerment, Meghan Markle now finds herself mired in controversy, facing mounting allegations of hypocrisy, plagiarism, narcissism, and the exploitative use of her royal title, all while engaging in public spats with critics. Former allies are turning away, and reports suggest she's firing off cease and desist letters over absurd branding disputes involving something as trivial as bath salts. The once enchanted narrative has unraveled, and even Netflix, once her staunch partner, appears to be stepping back. What was meant to mark her triumphant return, a bold rebranding, a powerful watch me rise again moment on the world's biggest streaming stage, has instead become a cautionary tale of ambition gone awry.
Now, you must be literally a bundle of wits waiting for this incredible new show, With Love, from Meghan. You must be waiting for it.
I mean, Meghan, some of her advice that she gave People magazine this week was how she likes to take her Chinese takeout and make it look beautiful on the plate. And, you know, that's the kind of advice I'm looking for.
Yeah. But instead of soaring, Meghan Markle's latest project With Love, Meghan didn't merely underperform. It went down in flames with such force that even Netflix is reportedly retreating in silence. Promoted as a warm, inspiring docuseries, the production has now cemented its place in the annals of streaming history for all the wrong reasons. Critics are openly mocking it, audiences have checked out entirely, and insiders claim Meghan is in a state of total breakdown behind closed doors. If this was intended to silence her detractors and redefine her public image, the result has been devastatingly the opposite.
Biggest stars and investors, where they were teasing their 2025 lineup. Meghan was nowhere to be found in the paperwork. She received a brief mention when she was the butt of a joke by one of the comedians on stage.
It's had the opposite effect entirely. With Love, Meghan, reportedly backed by a multi-million-dollar budget as part of the Sussex's $100 million Netflix deal, launched with all the advantages: a prime release window, full promotional backing, and the kind of front-page visibility most creators only dream of. But despite the massive hype machine, the result was a staggering ratings failure. According to viewership analytics from Flix Patrol and Nielsen, With Love, Meghan failed to crack Netflix's top 10 in virtually every major market during its opening week. Not in the US, not in the UK, not even in Canada. The series was outperformed by everything from Korean dramas to vintage sitcoms and syndicated reruns. Behind the scenes, Netflix executives are reportedly reassessing their deal with the Sussexes, with some insiders quietly labeling the project a vanity reel with no real audience. On a platform that lives and dies by engagement numbers, that's an unforgivable flaw. And it wasn't just the viewers who turned away. The critics, often restrained when it comes to celebrity-led content, were scathing. The Daily Telegraph slammed the series with a brutal one-star review, dismissing it as mind-numbingly shallow.
Joining me now is celebrity and royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, let's start with the reaction to Meghan Markle's new cooking show. I should say Meghan Sussex, because she prefers that these days. It's called With Love, Meghan. It's been ripped to pieces by the...
The New York Times criticized the series for being utterly consumed by its own narcissism, while The Guardian didn't hold back, describing it as a full-blown catastrophe of self-importance thinly veiled as self-care. But perhaps the most scathing assessment came from the Daily Beast, which dismissed the show as nothing more than a bloated influencer diary masquerading as a legitimate docuseries. emphasizing that Meghan appears far more fixated on shaping her personal narrative than offering any genuine storytelling. Across the spectrum, critics were in rare agreement. This wasn't content crafted with an audience in mind. It was a vanity project, tailored entirely to serve Meghan's self-image. Overproduced, overly controlled, and hopelessly self-indulgent. The series failed not just in purpose, but in entertainment value. And for all its polish and planning, its greatest sin in the eyes of reviewers was that it was, above all else, painfully dull.
Skills alongside some of her long-term friends, but she's cooking with a makeup artist, if you can even call it cooking. At one point, from what I understand, she removes pretzels from one bag and then puts them somewhere else in another bag. I mean, is that really a cooking program? And
even traditionally supportive liberal media outlets, like Vogue and Vanity Fair, both of which once enthusiastically amplified Meghan's message, were noticeably restrained this time around, offering little to no praise. That silence spoke volumes. One of the most contentious aspects of the series isn't even rooted in its content, but in its presentation. Despite officially stepping back from royal duties in 2020 and publicly criticizing the monarchy in several high-profile interviews, Meghan continues to attach her royal title, the Duchess of Sussex, to her media projects and promotional materials. That branding is prominently displayed throughout with Love, Meghan, a move that has ignited backlash from royal watchers and constitutional scholars alike. Royal commentator Tom Bower labeled it brazen hypocrisy, accusing Meghan of profiting from a title she once renounced. Royal biographer Angela Levin echoed those concerns, arguing that Meghan wants all the perks of royalty without the responsibility or accountability. And it's not just the public expressing concern. According to The Times, the unease is reportedly being felt behind palace walls as well.
This has been your makeup artist for how many years? And when he slices his hand open, you're surprised when he tells you he's left-handed. I mean, none of it makes sense, Rita. But that's not even, that's one of my favorite review headlines. Another was from Variety, who, don't forget, Meghan Markle loves a variety. She gives them access to her. She was on the cover of...
Behind the scenes at Buckingham Palace, internal discussions have reportedly taken place regarding whether more decisive steps should be taken to limit the Sussexes' continued use of their royal titles in commercial endeavours. The issue has become increasingly contentious, especially in light of With Love, Meghan, where the title Duchess of Sussex features prominently despite their exit from royal duties. Among the many elements of the series that drew widespread ridicule, one of the most frequently mocked was Meghan's repeated on-camera emotional breakdowns. Throughout several segments, she appears visibly tearful as she recounts moments of personal hardship and resilience. However, the emotional displays didn't resonate with everyone. Many viewers, along with media analysts, expressed skepticism about the authenticity of these scenes. Renowned body language expert Judy James, whose career spans decades of analyzing the behavior of politicians, public figures, and celebrities, was among those who cast doubt on the sincerity of Meghan's emotional portrayals.
Access to her. She was on the cover of their magazine shortly after Queen Elizabeth died. But their review title was With Love, Meghan is a Montecito ego trip not worth taking. That's all it is. It's a vanity project. Ooh. And I can tell you haven't watched it, and I wish to God I could be.
Speaking to Sky News, body language analyst Judy James remarked that Meghan's expressions appeared meticulously controlled and almost rehearsed. Supporting this view, Patty Wood, another respected expert with over 3 decades of experience, highlighted that Meghan's supposed displays of emotion lacked key indicators of authenticity, noting dry eyes and an absence of natural facial muscle engagement typically seen during genuine tears. Social media was quick to pounce. Platforms lit up with side-by-side memes showing Meghan crying without visible tears, repeatedly dabbing the same untouched spot on her cheek. Hashtags like #MeghanOscars and #DuchessOfDrama dominated trending lists for days. For the wider public, this wasn't seen as a moment of heartfelt vulnerability. It was interpreted as yet another scripted performance. And that may be the most damaging blow of all, because once an audience stops believing you, your brand crosses the line from compelling to unwatchable. In short, a record-breaking ratings disaster, savage critical backlash, and royal title usage that's managed to alienate monarchists and moderates alike. It's a perfect storm of public relations failure.
Little I've seen of it, it's not really something that is aspirational. It's not something you watch and go, I wish I could be doing that. I wish I could be making candles in some mansion, or playing with my it's just bizarre because it's not reality based, it's not raw and real.
And then there's the so-called documentary, packed with tears that few, if anyone, truly believe. But this is far from the end. It's only the beginning. Meghan Markle's once promising media empire isn't just teetering. It's imploding beneath the weight of its own overexposure and controversy. Stay tuned, because what's coming down the pipeline may prove even more explosive. If you thought the Netflix debacle marked the lowest point in her public trajectory, brace yourself. Behind the scenes, things are reportedly spiraling into chaos. From a podcast that's been publicly mocked by industry veterans to legal threats circling like vultures and rumors of a troubled past that simply won't fade, Meghan's unraveling isn't limited to a single failed production. It's the collapse of a carefully crafted brand, one built on borrowed prestige, meticulous image control, and a growing storm of scandals. Long before With Love, Meghan bombed, there was Archetypes, and the warning signs were already there.
Her appearance on that show. Tell us about this, Kinsey.
Well, this is one of our favorite topics, right? Just how gross Drew Barrymore can be when it comes to her physical activity with her guests. And yeah, the body language. Yes, and the body language expert says that Meghan's kind of met her match because
the Spotify podcast that was supposed to cement Meghan's reputation as a thoughtful, intellectual voice instead became a source of widespread ridicule and a cautionary tale in celebrity podcasting. Archetypes, envisioned as Meghan's legacy project, quickly devolved into what many called a cringe-worthy misfire. Even Spotify, who had inked a $20 million deal with Meghan and Harry, eventually pulled the plug. In total, Meghan managed to release just 12 episodes over a span of 2 years. That averages out to a staggering $1.6 million per episode. Episodes that critics said delivered little more than recycled interviews, overused tropes, and superficial commentary dressed up as meaningful insight. Industry heavyweights were blunt in their assessments. Joe Rogan openly mocked the podcast, calling it virtually unlistenable. And perhaps most damning of all, Spotify's own head of podcast innovation, Bill Simmons, delivered a scathing blow in a now infamous quote, referring to Meghan and Harry as the F********************* ing grifters, adding, "That's the podcast we should have launched, Meghan and Harry's grift." The backlash wasn't just loud, it was humiliating.
Request that it air unedited. Yes, there's some trust issues in this relationship, Kinsey. I reckon it's going to be a fascinating exchange if it takes place. It might be a hostile exchange. And let's remind people just how fascinating Elon Musk can be in interviews. Here he is with...
That wasn't just a subtle dig. It was Spotify's own executive openly repudiating their decision in the harshest possible terms. And while Meghan did snag a somewhat questionable Webby Award for Archetypes, critics were quick to point out that the victory came via fan voting rather than peer review. A clear popularity contest, not a mark of artistic or journalistic merit. Behind the scenes, however, Meghan's media empire is becoming a veritable legal quagmire. Take, for example, the controversy surrounding the so-called American Riviera orchard bath salts and jam jars she's been gifting to influencers. Reports from TMZ and the Daily Mail revealed that some of these homemade products may be violating health and safety regulations, especially if they fall under cosmetics or ingestible categories without the required FDA-compliant labeling. Then there's the ongoing trademark saga. Meghan attempted to secure exclusive rights to the Archetypes brand, but was blocked by several existing businesses, including a UK company and a US-based therapy platform. The US Patent and Trademark Office flagged her application as overly vague and likely to cause consumer confusion. And if that weren't enough, there's the Pearl controversy, her now cancelled Netflix cartoon project that bore a suspicious resemblance to Pearl Power, a pre-existing UK children's book series by Mel Elliott. Elliott confirmed in interviews that no one from Meghan's team reached out before developing a concept strikingly similar in both tone and title. A lawsuit is reportedly pending. Is this bad optics? Without question, what's becoming increasingly clear isn't the rise of a savvy entrepreneur, but rather a troubling pattern marked by careless branding, aggressive legal overreach, and repeated failures in execution. And then there's the persistent rumor Meghan Markle just can't seem to shake, the so-called yacht girl allegations. Once relegated to the fringes of gossip websites and tabloids, these whispers have now seeped into mainstream discourse. Critics, former acquaintances, And even well-known royal biographers like Lady Colin Campbell have begun referencing Meghan's secretive pre-suit lifestyle with an alarming boldness. While there's no verified court evidence tying Meghan to exclusive high-end yachting circles, it's her strategic legal silence that continues to fan the flames of speculation. As The Spectator astutely noted, if these claims were false, why hasn't she taken legal action? After all, Meghan doesn't hesitate to sue tabloids over much less. Even anonymous Hollywood insiders have weighed in within industry forums, dropping hints about behind-the-scenes reputation management linked to alleged high society parties in the Mediterranean and Gulf states. Events where actresses were reportedly flown in for networking, companionship, and brand building. To be clear, these remain unproven allegations. Yet Meghan's meticulously crafted public image, combined with her steadfast refusal to directly confront or deny these rumors, has created a vacuum. And in the ruthless realm of celebrity reputation, that vacuum quickly fills with noise, and perception becomes reality. What we're witnessing isn't merely a media disaster. It's a full-blown reputation crisis in the making. It's a domino effect, an unraveling that began with Meghan Markle's disastrous Netflix series, but has since expanded into a series of failures, controversies, and legal headaches that refuse to fade into the background. What was meant to be a controlled narrative has, ironically, transformed Meghan into the story itself, and the headlines continue to spiral downward. The Netflix failure was only the opening act. What followed was a cringeworthy podcast, mounting lawsuits, and dark rumors that have only poured more fuel on an already raging media firestorm. Let's take a closer look at this next phase of Meghan's crumbling media empire, because the situation isn't just bad, it's downright catastrophic. First, there was Archetypes, Meghan's highly anticipated Spotify podcast, which was marketed as a groundbreaking feminist platform. Despite a lucrative $20 million contract, Meghan released just 12 episodes over 2 years, and reportedly delegated much of the guest interviewing to her staff. The podcast was widely panned, and quickly became a public relations nightmare. Spotify eventually pulled the plug, and Bill Simmons, Spotify's head of podcast innovation, publicly branded Meghan and Harry as F**********ing grifters. Even Joe Rogan didn't hold back, openly ridiculing the show, while fans admitted the content was shallow, repetitive, and overtly self-indulgent. Then came the legal troubles. Meghan's American Riviera Orchard brand, launched with a line of homemade jams and bath salts, came under scrutiny when reports surfaced alleging the products did not meet FDA labeling requirements, raising concerns about health and safety compliance. And we can't forget the Pearl scandal. Meghan's cancelled Netflix animated series was accused of being suspiciously similar to Pearl Power, a UK children's book series by Mel Elliott. Elliott confirmed in interviews that Meghan's team never reached out before developing a concept that bore striking resemblances to her own work. This situation is a textbook example of intellectual property infringement, with legal action seemingly inevitable. But beyond the legal troubles, Meghan faces what might be her most damaging public relations crisis yet: the long-standing and widely circulated yacht girl allegations. Royal biographers and Hollywood insiders have repeatedly alluded to Meghan's shadowy past, including rumored connections to exclusive, high-society events in the Mediterranean. Though these claims remain unproven, Meghan's continued silence, and crucially, her refusal to file lawsuits or issue direct denials, only serves to keep the rumors alive and growing. As one seasoned royal columnist pointed out, Meghan is quick to sue for publicity on other matters. So why hasn't she taken action here? Unless the allegations hit too close to home. With failed podcasts, mounting legal battles, and a growing chorus of whispered accusations she cannot seem to silence, Meghan's carefully constructed public image isn't just showing cracks, it's crumbling completely. And perhaps the most painful irony of all is that the very spotlight she once fiercely sought has now become her most dangerous adversary.